So this was said very recently when it comes to Algorand. Did you know that the founder of Cardano and the co-founder of Ethereum, someone by the name of Charles Hoskinson, recently stated how Algorand did some of the best post-quantum work in this space? Now, nothing I say is financial advice and I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but why does this matter? Well, it's because as of right now, security, a lot of people do care about that within this space. So if someone like Charles Hoskinson, who is, again, literally the founder of Cardano and the co-founder of Ethereum, saying that about Algorand, isn't that pretty impressive? We've already seen Algorand be mentioned a lot of times basically in Google's quantum paper, and actually surprisingly enough, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, it was actually the most mentioned blockchain within, again, Google's quantum paper. Not to mention as well, we've even seen Coinbase talk about Algorand security very recently. Now, seeing someone like Charles Hoskinson mention that about Algorand, I think that's really impressive at the end of the day. And I think it showcases the emphasis that Algorand had when it comes to security ever since kind of the start, right? Because a lot of other projects out there, they're kind of caring about it recently, but they're kind of chasing. They're not really caring about that initially. When it comes to Algorand, it's been a core focus for a very long time. So I think that right there kind of showcases how, yeah, sure, Algorand may not be the most popular project out there, but they really do care about security, arguably, from what I can see so far. And the thing is this, if we take a look at it from an actual literal point of view, one would hypothetically assume that because Charles Hoskinson is the founder of Cardano, a lot of people would again kind of assume, like, why would he mention anything about a competitor? Because in the grand scheme of things, if we think about it, Algorand could be considered a competitor because, again, Cardano is a layer 1 blockchain, Algorand is a layer 1 blockchain as well. But still, even despite the quote-unquote competition in a sense, the founder of Cardano still mentioned that about Algorand. So again, I think that sometimes does highlight its fundamental qualities. It's like, for instance, right? Imagine if RJ Scaringe, which we of course know is the founder of Rivian, imagine if he complemented like the Model Y, for instance. Now, if he did that, which, again, I'm just speaking purely hypothetically here, but I'm just assuming if like he mentioned something along those lines, I think that would kind of, be an indicator that he might think it's pretty cool, right? It'd be a different case if Algorand was like not a layer 1 blockchain and then Charles Hoskinson mentioned that. Okay, then it's more reasonable. But him talking about that, which Algorand is also a layer 1 blockchain, much like Cardano, arguably they're competitors. Again, Charles Hoskinson saying that, I think it may really kind of showcase just what Algorand has going on for it, fundamentally speaking. Now, people like to say, well, it's not doing the best, though, when it comes to ALGO, which is Algorand's native token. Yeah, I agree, but we have to consider, because Algorand's narrative as of right now is kind of really tied to security, a lot of people would like to arguably say, because a lot of people have been really focusing on that when it comes to Algorand. The thing is, what happens if, let's say, the market sentiment were to change in a massive way? If, let's say, hypothetically, there was an altcoin season, and let's say that narrative of security really becomes a big focus, what would happen right then and there? Algorand is waiting right there because it's already kind of known for security, and I think as of right now, arguably, even though ALGO is still down by quite a lot, I would arguably say that, again, I think it's more known for security in regard to Algorand right now than ever before. I really do believe that, just because of the recent highlights, like I mentioned before, in terms of being acknowledged. In the case of the Google Quantum paper, we saw what Coinbase mentioned about Algorand security. We've seen Charles Hoskinson again mention about Algorand. So at the end of the day, when I take a look at Algorand, I think its narrative when it comes to security is better right now than ever before. And if, let's say, there is an altcoin season, or if, let's say, there is a big change in market sentiment in a pure hypothetical, and let's say security becomes a big narrative again, Algorand is just waiting in the wings, basically. Now, people like to say, but yeah, again, it's down almost 3% in the past 24 hours. True, but at the end of the day, again, my perspective isn't thinking about this in a 24-hour basis. My mindset is maybe years if needed. That's the thing. I don't mind waiting. Waiting for me, it's like the easiest part. I'd gladly wait for a project that I like fundamentally. That's my mentality. Now, if I take a look at it as well, Algorand, it's not like it's been doing, I guess, the worst. I mean, in the past 30 days, it's been having almost a 40% recovery. So is it still down by quite a lot compared to where it was not that long ago? Yes, of course. Currently, the market cap is around a billion, whereas not that long ago, we of course saw a market cap that was almost 4 billion, and that was in January of 2025. So yeah, when compared to that, it's not doing the best, of course. It's around 4 times lower than that. But still, around a hypothetical 40% recovery in the past 30 days, I wouldn't say it's that bad. That's just personally my perspective. But at the same time, people like to say, but sure, Algorand's focused on security, but who would even care about this? Well, let's think about this. Enterprises, what do they often care about? Security. And businesses, they care about that. And even just generally speaking, in the retail side of things, from all the stuff we've seen go on when it comes to space in regard to security and whatnot, in regard to breaches and stuff like that, I think even the retail space as of right now really cares about security. That's the thing. So when people like to say, oh, but just having that unique advantage of having good security, who cares about that? I'd arguably say that a lot of people do care and a lot of enterprises do care as well. And I think a lot of the retail market as of right now probably cares a lot about it, especially when compared to before. This is just personally my perspective. So again, as of right now, I don't mind waiting because I like the narrative when it comes to Algorand. It may not be the most popular, it may not be the coolest, but if it has that narrative of security, then I don't mind. Now, granted though, I'm not only just holding Algo, right? That's not the case. But it's something that I do hypothetically care about just because I like that aspect. Now, when I first believed in Algorand, security was not something I thought about in regard to this, but it just kind of happened along the way. I'm not in here to try to chase trends. I'm in here to hypothetically just wait, stay patient, and maybe anticipate. That's it. I don't like chasing. I just prefer anticipating. That's my mindset. So when it comes to Algorand, people like to say, well, it's cooked and all this. But if anything, it being around even a billion in terms of market cap as of right now, again, what that just means is that it's around 4 times lower than where it was slightly over a year ago. In which case, if it just goes back to that point, I have nothing to complain about. That's the thing. I'm already going to Sizzler, right? The restaurant, of course. I don't need Algo to ever become top 5, top 10. No. If Algo could just go back to where it once was in January of 2025, I have zero complaints. That's my mindset. So yeah, sure, Algorand is not doing the best as of right now, but a lot of other projects are also not doing the best. But unlike a lot of other projects out there that went down like almost 40% in the past 30 days, we've seen an almost 40% recovery in this case in the past 30 days. But again, this is like very short term anyways. That's not my time horizon to begin with. I'm still waiting, still staying patient, but there's really nothing else I can do. But I just thought, again, what Charles Hoskinson said about Algorand recently, I thought it was really cool and really interesting. So, of course, naturally, I wanted to make a video on it. However, I'll be sure to, again, make more updates moving forward. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And it's been Lee the Captain, and I'm on peace. Bye.